This evening, we are going to be starting off with a special meeting of Public Finance Authority. To be able to do some of the business later in the regular agenda, we need to do that first, according to law. So first of all, roll call.
Chair Cleveland.
Here.
Vice Chair Didball.
Here.
Director Buckland.
Here.
Director Cardoza.
Here.
Director Harris.
Here.
With that, we'd like to open the, I guess it's General Item Public Finance Authority setting time and place for a regular meeting. And it looks like Robin's going to be doing this.
Good evening. Yes, the government code requires that bonds can only be authorized by a JPA through a resolution adopted at a regular meeting. In order to meet this requirement, the Yuba City Public Financing Authority, a JPA, must first hold a special meeting for the purposes of establishing the time and place for regular meetings. Excuse me. The resolution that was attached to the staff report for the Public Financing Authority specifies that the regular meetings will be held on the same date as regular city council meetings, but that if there is no business to be considered, there will be no meeting of the JPA. So at this time, staff recommends that the city council adopt the resolution attached to the staff report.
It's not the city council, Robin, it's the Public Finance Authority.
Yeah,
Thank you for that clarification.
a little confusing sometimes.
Yes, thank you, Tim.
Any questions by the council? Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion.
Move to adopt the resolution.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous vote, so we can now move on. And I will adjourn as the special meeting Public Financing Authority. Now I will readjourn as the regular meeting of the City Council of Yuba City, March 21st, 2017.
Mr. Mayor, it's actually a joint meeting of the city council.
Oh, it is,
and the
it does
Public
say
Financing
joint, it
Authority,
does say
right.
joint. City Council and Public Finance Authority, regular meeting. Okay. I didn't read it completely there. With that, we'll go, I guess we can make the roll, no, we have to have a roll call of the council, so we'll go a new roll call.
Mayor Cleveland.
Here.
Vice Mayor Didball. Councilman Buckland.
Here.
Councilman Cardoza.
Here.
Councilman Harris.
Here.
Okay, let's stand. I will lead the invocation, and Councilman Harris will lead us in the flag salute. Dear God, thank you for the privilege and opportunity to serve this great community. We ask that you fill us with your wisdom in making decisions. May your living word guide us this evening. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving on to public communication. You are welcome and encouraged to participate in this meeting. Public comment is taken on items listed on the agenda when they are called. Public comment on items not listed in the agenda will be heard at this time. Comments on controversial items may be limited, and large groups are encouraged to select representatives to represent the opinions of the group. Are there any written requests?
None were received.
Okay. Appearance of interested citizens. Members of the public may address the City Council on items of interest that are within the city's jurisdiction. Individuals addressing general comments are encouraged to limit their statements to 3 minutes. Moving on to number 3, public hearing. Groundwater Sustainability Agency Formation, or a GSA, presented by Ben Moody. Oh, wait a minute. After he presents it, then I'll do that. Yeah, okay.
Good evening.
Trying to remember stuff.
Mayor Cleveland, members of the council. The item I have before you is in regards to the establishment of a GSA, a Groundwater Sustainability Agency. In 2015, SGMA, the Sustainable Groundwater Agency for Management Act, came into play through the state, which requires local agencies to basically manage groundwater within their jurisdictions. With that act, they set timelines for implementation of various components. One of the big things is the establishment of these groundwater agencies in the Sutter subbasin where we fall. If you see the map on the left, there's a red line at the top, cuts across the buttes here. This area west of the Feather River in Sutter County is the Sacramento Valley Groundwater Basin Sutter Subbasin. So we fall within that basin and have to comply with the state SGMA Act. And so in order to give us the flexibility going forward to control and to have a seat at the table on how those requirements are implemented, the city recommends forming a GSA, becoming our own groundwater sustainability agency, and then we partner with the other agencies in our basin to come together for a plan on how to manage our resources. And so this is one of the multiple steps. In December, we came to you to discuss submitting an alternative groundwater plan to the state to help meet the requirements of the law. And this is another requirement that needs to be done before June 30th, 2017. So with that, the process to become a groundwater sustainability agency is to conduct a public hearing, notice it in the paper, have it open to the public, and to adopt a resolution, submit it to the state, and they verify the boundaries with the adjacent GSAs, and that we meet the compliance. So fiscal costs, a lot of the cost is unknown at this time. A lot of it's been staff time at this point. There has been approximately $8,300 out of the $240,000 of the total share to submit the alternative plan has gone in. Going forward, there's going to be staff time annually, plus additional analysis and ordinance updates to comply with the law. So at this time, we don't really have a grasp of that. As being part of this, forming the GSA, in the water code, it does allow a GSA to pass on costs. So that is one of the reasons why it's beneficial to form as a GSA. So in a year from now, when we look back and have to determine what those costs are and those responsibilities, the GSA has the authority to do that. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from members? I do have a little bit here because when I was at the county, there were AB 3030 was the original iteration of this kind of coming our direction, having to do with groundwater sustainability, and it said that the current GSAs or whoever was a water provider had to do the reporting, and they tried to get the county to do it. They weren't a GSA or whatever it was called at that time, so they were not qualified to do that. So since then, they've made major changes to this process, and they're making Sutter County be the reporter for most of the county. And so I don't know, are we going to be the independent report to the state, or are we also going to be putting ours into Sutter counties, and then they will send the whole report to them? How is that going to work?
So the county is the default for the areas in white that
Right.
aren't covered in an agency.
Right.
So if you're a water provider or you're a local agency, you could establish your boundaries. So there's reclamation districts,
Right.
the city limits, but this area in white, it will fall as a de facto back to the county. And so, but as forming as a GSA, we are a player where we all have to get together and agree on the terms of our plan that gets submitted to the state.
Okay, because I know they were trying to make it to where cities and everybody had to send it to a clearinghouse, basically the county, and the county would send them all at one time, so I guess they've changed that. So, and I actually like the way it is now than what they had planned before. Thank you. With that, I'll open the public session. Any comments or concerns or stuff from anybody in the public? Seeing none, close the public session, bring it back to the council, and looking for action.
Move to approve staff's proposal.
Okay, a motion. Can I have a second for that?
Second.
Okay. Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
It's basically one of those things we're kind of being forced to do. Moving on to number 4, Yuba City Tourism Improvement District. Darren Gale.
Good evening, Mayor Cleveland and City Council members. It's a pleasure to be before you this evening to talk about our tourism improvement district. Before I get started, I actually have a whole presentation I can go over that we presented in January, or I can just kind of go over highlights and move forward. So whatever your direction is, Mr. Mayor.
Highlights, I think, would be
Okay.
best.
So in January, your city council moved forward with the intent to establish a tourism improvement district. This is a culmination of many, many years of work. And I want to personally thank Brianna Struckmeyer, who's the Director of Tourism for the Yuba City Chamber of Commerce, who has worked for the past 18 months at the Chamber of Commerce, directly working with our local hotels to get them involved, get their support, and to move forward with a tourism improvement district. Since your January City Council meeting, all the jurisdictions within the Yuba and Sutter regions have had this item presented to them and have approved them, including Wheatland and Live Oak, which currently do not have any lodging partners within their community. So tonight, with this action, the recommendation is to conduct a public hearing, also to adopt a resolution declaring the results of the majority protest proceedings. And to date, we have yet to receive a single protest from any lodging partner within the entire Yuba City region for this tourism improvement district. And as a highlight, this will create just a 2% assessment for residents that come and stay at one of the lodging partners. It will also create approximately $250,000 in revenue alone out of that, and then the lodging creates a lodging association, and also they'll be requesting 10% of our existing TOT, the Yuba City Lodging Association, which is made up of 4 board members of hotels, 1 position for the city, and 1 for the other jurisdictions. So at this time, I can answer any questions you might have. Also here with us, we have Nicole Farley from Civitas, Ricky Schaefer, our chamber CEO, and Dale Eiler on the executive committee for the Yuba City Chamber of Commerce.
Any questions at this time? Okay, seeing none. The public hearing for the proposed Yuba City Tourism Improvement District is now open. Is there any public that would like to comment or have any questions? Seeing no further comment on this issue, closing the public hearing, bring the matter back to the council. Okay, the only comment I have personally, and actually, if anybody really wants for Civitas to come up in a very short synopsis of what this district really is and how successful it has been in California. Because I was at a meeting last night where I had to clarify some explanations where there were misconceptions as to that $250,000 was a new tax and all kinds of stuff.
So tourism improvement districts is an assessment on the business. They started in California in 1989 when West Hollywood became the first group of hoteliers to collaborate, place an assessment onto their businesses, which they did pass on to their hotel guests to do collaborative marketing to drive business back into West Hollywood. Since then, we've seen a rapid expansion of the tourism improvement district concept, not only in California, but across the United States. And with your guys' approval of the resolution of formation today, the Yuba City Tourism Improvement District will be the 100th T-bid in the state of California. So,
Thank you very much. Nice and short and sweet. That was great. With that, we're looking for some action or questions.
No questions. I will say that the process, though it's been 18 months long, was well directed through our chamber and through Brianna and all of the individuals that kept us all up to date on what was going on, and certainly working collaboratively with our hotel industry to be able to bring this forward. So really, I think it's an amazing project that brings Yuba City tourism to the forefront. And with that, I would move that we adopt a resolution declaring the results of the majority protest proceedings, and that we establish the Yuba City Tourism Improvement District.
I have a second.
I'll second.
Hearing that, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous vote. Next steps. That's going to be great. Moving on to ordinances, massage ordinance update by Tom Tappy.
Good evening, Mr.
Second
Mayor,
reading.
City Council members. This matter was brought before the council at the last meeting on March 7th. The purpose of the ordinance update is to further protect the public, support professionalism within the massage industry, and follow the intent of state law. As you recall, the most significant change in the updated ordinance is that it requires massage therapists to be certified, licensed by the California Massage Therapy Council, or licensed as an exempt therapist through the police department. The exempt therapist provision will allow therapists who do not meet the California Massage Therapy Council's licensing requirements to receive a massage therapist permit issued by the Yuba City Police Department under the following criteria. The applicant must have completed at least 200 hours of certified training and show to the satisfaction of the Yuba City Police Department that he or she would have qualified for a massage therapist permit under the requirements of the previous massage ordinance. Exempt therapists will be required to renew their permits annually. Exempt therapists who allow their permits to expire will not be eligible for a renewal. Persons must submit an application for an exempt therapist permit to the Yuba City Police Department prior to December 31st, 2017. The police department will send a notice via U.S. mail regarding the revised ordinance and the above exemption to every person who had previously received a massage permit issued by the police department. The police department will also post this notice on our department's website and work with Ms. Julie Stone in mailing the notice to graduates of her massage school. We recommend you adopt the massage establishments and massage therapist ordinance and waive the second reading. I'm happy to take any questions you have at this time.
To the mayor.
Any questions? Yes.
To the mayor. Tom, about a week and a half ago, the California Massage Therapy Council met, and they were going to review the information regarding schools that
Yes.
had closed. What was their finding? Did they take action, or?
You know, I did not receive notice from them, and to be honest with you, I didn't even, just completely forgot about that until you just reminded me of it. So I don't have the answer for that.
Yeah, I'd be interested to find out what their final decision was.
I can sure
down
check
there.
on that and
Okay,
get that message to you.
thank you.
Any other comments? Well, I know that when you began this, you thought it would be a relatively simple process to get through, and it turned out to be anything but that. It was massaged to death as a ordinance. Sorry, I had to do that. Now maybe we can put it to sleep and get it over with. Anyway, I'm done. So with that, I'm looking for some action. Sorry, that's as good as I can do on jokes. So I'm looking for some action on this.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the ordinance as is
And waive the second reading.
and waive the second.
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous vote again. Thank you. Thank you for your tenacious work on this, because it was a work in process. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Moving on, consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine and can be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time that the council votes on the motion unless members of the city council, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed or removed from the consent calendar for individual action. Are there any requests for removal or discussion? I hear none, so looking for a motion for consent calendar.
Move to approve the consent calendar?
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, so we're moving on. Okay. Okay, I'm looking for where it ends. Here we go.
Number 8.
We're on 8.
8.
Okay, purchase and installation of video surveillance items at the Yuba City Corporate Yard and Gaucher Aquatic Park. Brian.
Close, Devin.
Devin. Yeah. Where's Brian?
Brian wasn't available tonight,
Okay.
so. Before you is a recommendation to purchase some video surveillance equipment, hardware, software, and installation from Precision West by finding in the best interest of the city to do so. The background, the camera system was installed in the Corporation Yard in 2004, the Gap in 2007. Typical life on this stuff is 5 years, 7 years if you're extremely fortunate. We've been putting this stuff, keeping it going with Scotch tape and baling wire for a while, and it's time for it to be replaced. We've had these items in our technology replacement fund, and so the funds exist in this current budget year. We've gotten quotations from Precision West to replace the systems, and we've checked those quotations with another to make sure that we're getting a competitive bid, and so we're requesting that the award go to them. With that, I'll answer any questions you may have.
Are there any specific questions?
Yeah, through the mayor.
Yes, indeed.
So Devin, this equipment, 2004, probably the best format that was out there was probably an analog system that we're recording this on, and the imagery, I would imagine, is minimal.
Minimal, grainy, not very, it doesn't do well in dusk and dawn or with sun. And with the improvements in technology, yeah, pretty much when you'd want to have it, it didn't work at its peak.
So when thieves and vandals are out there,
Yeah,
it
it wasn't
work
at its
well.
best, yeah.
Okay.
However, I mean, we did capture several images when we had been burglarized, and I don't know how helpful they were, but we did have that. But with today's technology, the cameras have an infrared ability, so at night you can see facial features, you can see what they're wearing, not so much with colors, but you can see that you can identify a face, a hat, an emblem on a hat, that kind of thing. And during the day, if the sun hits it, they have auto filters that drop into place, so it's kind of like wearing Polaroid sunglasses. They drop the glare factor out so that, again, you can see. So it's just light years ahead of what we've had before.
So have we moved into the high definition realm with this equipment?
Some of them are high definition, some of them are not. The night vision ones, night vision cameras, do not do high definition.
Right.
The ones that obviously have the Polaroid filter and are for daylight use, those are the HD cameras.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Any more questions? One of the questions that I did have, since we have a lot of the systems you get, were they compatible on a lifespan of what was going on? I know this one's compatible with it, but a lot of the mainframe systems they have a lifespan a little bit longer. And I asked how the lifespan is currently going on, and they assured me that it still has a long time before we have to worry about replacing the backup electronics and stuff. So,
Yeah, correct.
So I was very pleased to hear that. And with that, looking for an motion.
I'll make a motion. And just a comment along with that is that I think when electronics and technology get old, they don't do us a lot of good. And we do spend a lot more on maintaining things. And these are our facilities that are very high cost, and we put a lot of money into building these facilities and keeping them up and running. So I think it's very conducive that we protect them and make sure that they are covered. With that being said, I am going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the purchase of the video surveillance hardware, software, and installation.
Got a motion, second?
And I'll second that.
You got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. That means it's unanimous again. Moving on to item 9, 5th Street Bridge Replacement Project. The award of professional services agreement for construction management and inspection services. This is your life.
This is my life. Good evening, Mayor.
Thank you,
members of
Kevin,
the
for
City
being so
Council.
good at it.
You're welcome. Item 9 before you tonight is a recommendation to award a professional services agreement for construction management and inspection services associated with the 5th Street Bridge Replacement Project. Back in August of 2016, council authorized Public Works to issue a request for proposals for the construction management and inspection services for this project. Staff issued that RFP in September to 15 engineering firms that specialize in construction services, 2 potential subconsultants that had expressed an interest in the project, and also a Sacramento-based consultant information network that basically acts like a bid exchange to get information or on projects that are coming up to consultants who may be interested. Let's see, how do I skip forward? There we go. So in October of 2016, we received proposals from these six firms. I just have to say that these 6 firms are basically the cream of the crop in our area for construction services. They all submitted fantastic proposals. A team consisting of staff from the city of Yuba City, city of Marysville, Sutter County, Yuba County, and Caltrans evaluated the proposals and collectively ranked the Hanna Group as the top ranked consultant. What distinguished the Hanna Group from the other 5 very qualified firms is that they've constructed the largest bridge project for the city of Richmond, largest bridge project for the city of Tracy, largest bridge project for the county of Sacramento, and the largest transportation project for the city of Sacramento. And all of their references checked out excellent. So fiscal impacts associated with this agreement are that it's essentially 100% or 99% federal funded. The funding breakdown is shown on the slide. The city will be required to advance the funding, pay for the invoices, and then submit invoices to Caltrans for reimbursement. And along with this this fiscal impact, we need to do a few budget transfers, a supplemental appropriation, and a supplemental revenue adjustment to get the CIP accounts in order. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for him from the council? Yes. No, nothing? Okay. Been a long time coming. Yes. Very happy to see this happening. And I will say publicly that the July date of breaking ground officially on it is still standing, as long as we can get the state of California to do their last one little thing that they've got to do to let us put it out, the final bid thing. So we're there.
We'll get there.
Yes. On our schedule.
Through the mayor.
Yes.
I would move the recommendation A, B, C, and D as provided by staff.
I will second that.
We've got a motion and a second. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Nobody. Awesome. Carries. Thank you again. Your life is still going to be on this for the next 3 or 4 years, so. Yes. Okay, moving on to number 10, State Route 99 and State Route 20 Interchange Project Study Report Update, presented by Diana Langley.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm going to really try not to break into a coughing fit. I've been fighting it all night, so I've got my water here with me. The item before you tonight it's a note and file, just informational item only on the SR20, SR99 interchange. We, in a transportation workshop early in 2016, one of the projects that came forward from council was to further study the 2099 interchange. So we approached Caltrans, received a scope of work in the amount of $292,000 for Caltrans to prepare. It's called a project study report, project development support, project initiation document. Basically what that document does is looks at different alternatives. It doesn't rule really any alternatives out at this point. It just identifies alternatives. And then as you move forward in the process, you would study those to then choose your selected alternative. So Caltrans has come forward with, I'm going to go over 3 different interchange alternatives tonight. They also studied an additional alternative called a diverging diamond interchange, and from their perspective, it's not a feasible option for Yuba City. They also looked out at the potential for roundabouts, but that would require a three-lane roundabout, which is not, would not fit within our area, so that's been removed from discussion as well. So I'll briefly go over how these interchanges work. So alternative one, it's a single quadrant with a slip-on ramp. So for the limits of what they're studying, you've got Sunsweet Boulevard to the south, Stabler Lane to the west, Queens Avenue to the north, and then Gray Avenue to the east. So all three alternatives, that's the scope that they're looking at. Now I'm going to zoom into the particular interchange. So with the single quadrant with slip-on ramp, if you want to go southbound onto 99 from Highway 20, you would take this ramp here and then merge onto 99. If you are westbound on 99 and want to go westbound on 20 and go 99, southbound to 99, you would take this hook ramp. If you're going southbound on 99 and you want to get onto 20, you would just go here and it'd be a signalized intersection. And then also if you were going to go northbound onto 99, take this ramp and this ramp. So one of the things with this alternative, actually all three alternatives, is that all three alternatives show a road, a local road that ties into Highway 20 at Civic Center Boulevard, follows the former railroad right-of-way, ties into West Onstadt Frontage Road. The key with this is that this current connection at West Onstadt would go away. So the right-in, right-out would no longer exist. On the east side, where you can currently come into the frontage road right here at Beeler, that would go away as well. And so access would have to come from you would go down Roca to Louise and then down Kelton to access that property. So the estimate for this, all three alternatives, is about $65 million. Now these are just very rough cost estimates. One of the things that I like about all three alternatives is it includes auxiliary lanes. And so when we say an auxiliary lane, when you are going westbound on 20, you want to go northbound to 99, rather than merging into the through travel lanes, if you want to get off at Queens, you would stay in the third auxiliary lane and then get off at Queens. Similarly, if you were going eastbound on 20 to southbound 99 and you wanted to go to Sunsweet Boulevard, you would stay in that third lane and then you could turn right onto Sunsweet Boulevard. So all three alternatives also have that auxiliary lane. They also show 3 travel lanes each direction from Stabler Lane to Highway 99 because that's what's called for in our general plan. Moving on to the next alternative, it's a single point interchange. Similar limits in terms of, Stabler Lane, Sunsweet Boulevard, Queens Avenue, Gray Avenue. What's really different is just this portion of the interchange. And so this would be controlled by one signalized intersection. And so if you want to go from 20 to 99, you would do this. If you want to go 20 to 99, you would do this. Similarly, if you're going to southbound and you want to go onto 20, you would do this. You would do this. This intersection, to have it controlled by a single traffic signal is not as efficient as the alternative one. But like I said, this PSR report is not to, at this point, start singling out which alternatives shouldn't be evaluated. It's just strictly to evaluate alternatives, and then in future phases of the project, you would identify the best project. Alternative 3 is a single quadrant interchange. So again, the limits are the same. The connection from Civic Center Boulevard down to West Onstadt is the same. So it's really this portion that's different. So the major difference with this alternative is how you access Highway 99 from Highway 20, particularly if you want to go southbound. So if you are eastbound on 20 and you want to go southbound on 99, you're actually going to get into a turn lane. This will be a signalized intersection. You're going to turn left onto this ramp and then merge onto 99. Similarly, if you're going westbound on 20, you would get onto this ramp to go southbound on 99. So that is putting a tremendous amount of traffic for southbound 99 from Highway 20 at this one intersection. And if you look at the length of the turn pockets right here, very short when you consider the volume of vehicles and trucks that could be making that movement. I should note all of these alternatives show that Highway 99 would be built to the west of the existing Highway 99. And in terms of the profile of the interchanges, the controlling factor is really the bridge here at Butte House Road in terms of elevation. So one of the concepts that council wanted us to evaluate is depressing Highway 20 under Highway 99 to lower the profile. Caltrans has looked at, there's a large 84-inch storm drain pipe that crosses Highway 20 right here. It drains, there's a pump station, storm pump station at Queens and 99 that pretty much runs year-round based on groundwater. That water goes through that 84-inch storm drain. And if you did not want to reroute that 84-inch storm drain or take on the maintenance associated with a new pump station there, the depth that you could actually depress Highway 20 is 3 feet. And so you wouldn't be able to really gain much on the profile, particularly since this bridge is kind of the controlling factor too in terms of the height of this interchange. And so one of the things that I'm hoping for direction tonight from council is the thought of depressing Highway 20. Is that something that you would still like to pursue, with the understanding that if you depress it more than 3 feet, then it's relocation of utilities, installation of a storm drain pump station, and then the city would then take on the maintenance for those facilities? Are you interested in just saying, okay, it could be depressed 3 feet and leave it at that, or just discard that as an option altogether? And then the other picture that I have is just the diverging diamond as an option.
Looks like a circus to me, sorry.
Yeah, so the diverging diamond, it's counterintuitive for drivers, in that if you're going westbound on 20, you would then swap over to the south side and then swap back over to the north side. So very counterintuitive for drivers, and I don't believe that there's one installed in the state of California. Caltrans' comment was they were looking for a place to install them, but they didn't think Yuba City was the place to install it. So all of the previous 3 alternatives that I reviewed, they all require full acquisition of at least 2 parcels, possible partial acquisition of 20 parcels. And then the other thing that I want to note in terms of impacts, this assumes no driveway access on the south side of Highway 20. So you can see with this new road that driveway access now comes off this new road to these parcels. And so that would be a pretty significant impact to the businesses along here.
Diane, is that on both sides or just the south side only?
Just the south side, and the reason that they did that on the south side is because they felt that the businesses could gain access from this road, versus the businesses on the north side have no, I mean, you have the road back to the jail, but it's it's owned by the county, it's not a public road. And so you couldn't provide them additional access from an alternative location. So that's why they closed off all access on this side.
Is there a Caltrans guidance document that gives advice or regulates that for the approaches? Or is it just their recommendation, because that is going to be the third lane for the approach to get onto the highway going south for those driveways to go away.
Yeah, in terms of the guidance document, they have not said that it's, it's required per any type of their manual. Basically, I think it's a matter of just traffic operations it's so difficult now to get in and out of those driveways. When you're talking about 3 lanes of traffic each direction, it would be extremely difficult to maintain those driveway access points along Highway 20. And if you have the opportunity to move them to basically a frontage road with minimal traffic, it improves their accessibility. Now, one of the things that's a little bit odd is Caltrans does require an 8-foot shoulder. And so we would have to do a design exception if we did not have the shoulder. They also show the sidewalk, and then there'd be a little bit of landscaping. We told them it's important for Yuba City that we have landscaping incorporated into the project. We just don't want a massive concrete. And so they've shown that and identified different areas that you could potentially have landscaping. So in terms of this project, I mean, $65 million. There's no identified funding source. This project's not in the city's impact fee program in terms of construction. So, what this study is doing is just identifying alternatives. But to move forward, we'd really need to identify and work with the state in terms of funding to move forward with any next phases for the project.
Okay, before I ask you for questions, 'cause I know you have a couple, I would like to just say that this was brought up only because I noticed that it was 2033 or 35 when this actual discussion was going to be coming up in the future, and that was absolutely unacceptable to have a discussion start then when all of us would be, it'd be ridiculous. So that's why it was brought up sooner. So at least we can have something on the books on the list as discussion to where, we can move ahead a lot sooner than later. So that's why it was brought up originally. And so with that,
To the mayor.
Councilman.
So Diane, as you know, I'm slightly critical of option 1 and 3 because in Caltrans' infinite wisdom, they have simply just taken the I-5-12 intersection and restamped it in Yuba City. And that area down there is void of business, buildings, and everything except for to its east, where there's gas stations and other things, but they're quite a ways off of the freeway. So when I look at a project like this, I think oftentimes we're looking too much inside of a box. And there are businesses on the north side of Highway 20 that could be purchased and eliminated in a process to still leave very valuable properties to the south open and accessible with a realignment and actually an alignment that I believe is more direct instead of making a slight jog to the south that the Highway 20 corridor makes at that location. So those would be some alternatives. We do have plenty of time in which we would be able to acquire some right-of-way to be able to do that as those properties become available. And looking at some more alternatives. Again, as you know, I'm a big proponent of a split level. So we don't build a high-profile structure right in the middle of Yuba City. I'd be totally opposed to any concept of a roundabout inside the largest piece of real estate that Caltrans owns within an intersection in California, I believe, to date. And that's the 9920 intersection that is controlled by lights. I do need to make that caveat that is a large parcel that they own. Again, over time, we're going to have to mitigate why. We're dealing with a non-compliant intersection. I continue to say that. The light cycles and everything else through there are not to the Caltrans code. And if they are, they back up traffic. We need to look at this as we advance our community. We need to look at alternatives that really promote good sense, good aesthetic value to that area, but also accessibility to the businesses that are there, and with the exception of some of those that may move on, and we would have opportunities to acquire smaller parcels along that route. So with that, those are my comments. And again, we have plenty of time. The other thing, and one of the reasons we advance this, and this is for the public, we don't know where the current administration is going to be on financing infrastructure and projects. So we want to be able to have something that we could move forward on a more of a fast track if monies were to become available in the next 4, 6, 8 years, something like that.
So if I can summarize your comments, to evaluate shifting Highway 20 to the north
Yes.
and maintain access to the businesses on the south, and then also continue with the concept of a split level interchange.
That would be my recommendation
Okay.
at this point.
Through the mayor.
Definitely. Councilman?
Diana, you being an engineer and public works director, just throwing this out, which would you like? Just, I mean, we won't hold you to it, but out of those three categories, what do you think, as being an engineer, what do you think would be the most feasible for the citizens of our community?
Alternative 1.
Okay, thank you very much, Diana.
And I want to remind everybody, there's no wrong question and no wrong answer in this. This is the beginning of a long-term, hopefully shorter, process to actually make this happen. So I do have some disagreements on 1 also, and similar to Councilman Buckland, but not exactly, so.
Are there any interchanges that you would like to see studied that they haven't evaluated? Any concepts?
The only one that I was really questioning was on option number 2, where it has only a single light process there, operation. Would that configuration be able to be designed with a more of a 2 light instead of the single, and reconfigured in a way that that would happen? Because I know I remember seeing somewhere where this configuration is actually done with a set of 2 lights rather than the single. And
I would say at Highway 70 in Orville, it's a very similar structure, and it's governed by 2 lights. You don't have a lot of stacking.
That's on Orville Boulevard,
Orville Dam
isn't it?
Boulevard. You don't have a lot of stacking distance in between the signals, and so that's something that you have to consider. But that interchange is very similar to this one.
I know I'd seen some, and that's not the only one. There's a couple others that you mention it, that is true. They have that short stacking underneath it and stuff like that, but it actually works pretty well there. We have more traffic in our spot there than they do, though. Okay, but like I said, we'll ask for more options from them and say, hey, throw it on the wall, let's take a look at it. And
well, so the thing is, our agreement with them, they have to be completed by January 2018.
Right.
And so in order for them to continue with their studies, we need to give them feedback in terms of, are these interchanges sufficient? Do we want them to look at a different alternative so that they can finalize what we're going to move forward with and then complete the document? So our window for providing them feedback is pretty short.
So the modifications or alternatives that are being mentioned tonight need to be kind of given a nod of a direction to go or not? Would it be good tonight, or is there just a little bit more time?
So if we need more time, we can extend the time frame a little bit. But in terms of, the 3 alternatives I provided tonight, I'll go back and give them Councilman Buckland's directive. And then if there's something else that, another concept that you're interested in, we can provide them that information to study. If you want me to move forward with the alternative 2, but with 2 signalized intersections, they could lay that out. But we need to be able to give them, okay, these are the ones that we're going to move forward with in the study.
And I would have to defer to the retired policeman that has dealt with a lot of things like that, and also perhaps somebody who was still in the California Highway Patrol on their experience. You haven't tried, there's no button yet. Okay, so,
I'm sorry.
go ahead, but that's,
One question, or actually a couple. Diane, if we were not going to,
gotta face it.
I'm sorry. If we were not going to lower the profile of Highway 20, do we have to go higher than the overcrossing at Butte House?
It would be about 25 feet is the height that they're estimating for the interchange.
So is that the same or as Butte House?
About
or
3 feet higher
3
than
feet
Butte
higher?
House.
Okay. And then,
And that's
just-
for drainage purposes. The intent is it would drain back towards the north and the south.
okay. And then, I do kind of agree with Stan or the mayor in that, I think 2 signal lights, an option number 2. I like number 2 primarily because it provides an opportunity for traffic on 99, both north and southbound, to do a U-turn. Should people change their mind, they don't have to travel half a mile or whatever to make their U-turn, also for emergency vehicles in order to do that as well.
Okay, we can give them that direction.
That's my input there.
To the mayor.
Yes.
And just for the public's information, Diana, if we lowered Highway 20, the profile of the overcrossing would be lessened dramatically. The area to the south, the impact to the south would be lessened because of the ramping that would occur, the down ramping. And if I'm correct, that could terminate prior to the old Gomez crossing, the old railroad crossing. And that's just a ballpark from Caltrans, that would be able to happen. When we talk about extending Civic Center Boulevard, and we're talking $65 million, give or take 20, the roadway that we're talking about that's shown in the red to the south, is that in that pricing, or that would be included in that?
Yes.
And then acquisition of property to be able to get easement for those businesses. We own one little street there, but as my understanding, all that dirt road back behind there is all private property. So we'd have to be purchasing land, going into Meeks and everything else back in there.
Yeah, Woodward Street is a public street
Where does it terminate?
right here
Okay.
at Meeks.
Diane, I believe that other land's all railroad land, isn't it?
This is right here, yeah.
Yeah, that's all railroad land, so.
We don't currently own it.
No.
So that is one of the problems. But if we were to go on a split level, we may still be able to, would we be able to keep the frontage road access in front of the hotel open?
No.
Even if we had a third lane in there?
Yes.
Even with the third lane, we couldn't do it?
With the third lane.
Still not, okay.
Okay.
And it's based upon the merge requirements. It'd be, the
for at
intersection
speed.
would be too close.
Right, for at
that.
speed. Okay.
So through the mayor, so in the future, if this did exist, they would have to get to the hotel, they would have to come in on Sunsweet Boulevard and go down the frontage to get to it.
Or go down Civic Center.
Or go
yes.
down Civic Center. But most people see it on 99, they'd say, hey, there's a hotel, so, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, because you go part up, part down.
I was just trying to understand exactly what he meant by split level, because there's different meanings for that. I personally, I'm still interested in the 3 feet to reduce the, the impacts that it would have on the, farther down, the 3 feet drop. I mean, that's an option I'd like us to, look at. And that would be basically, I guess, on option one. Is that the one that we would want to, or do we want to look at it for both? Anybody?
I think they would need to evaluate it for
One and
all
two.
the alternatives
Okay,
because of the cost impact. So you're,
okay,
you
okay.
know, in terms of your infrastructure, doing a split level, I'm not sure how that will impact cost because it impacts ADA, particularly on Highway 20. So I'm not sure what that will do to the estimate. So I think they would need to evaluate that for all of the alternatives.
That's fine. If anybody doesn't want it to be done, let me know.
And it might be in the report, just a simple discussion about, because, you know, in terms of what it looks like here, it's going to look pretty much the same, but it might be a discussion in the report in terms of the possibility and impacts associated with that.
Okay. So basically, we're saying 3 we're not interested in, is that what we're looking at? And
Well,
one
we
and-
would still keep 3 in the
Okay,
study.
okay. And 1 and 2 with the number 2 being modified, an option for 2 lights for the purpose of people turning around and just an operation. And then also on option 1 would be shifting it a little bit north and keeping the impact off of the south businesses.
My understanding is
Correct.
that would be for all 3 alternatives.
But it would be all 3 alternatives. Okay. Thank you.
Just through the
go
mayor,
ahead.
just clarification, this, so the diverging lanes would be,
Is not going to be included in the report.
oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Because
That's a waste of time.
I can see people dying right there. Well, maybe the Highway Patrol and Yuba City PD would like it for catching DUIs, because that would be enough mass confusion that they wouldn't even know how to go through that, so.
One more question, Stan.
A new go-kart course.
What?
New go-kart.
Go-kart. Now I forgot what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Can you go back to number 2 if you don't mind? So just looking at this, just for clarification, we're going to have freeway designation. Instead of stopping at 99 at 20, it's going to go down to Sunsweet at this point once it's over? Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any infrastructure going to, or planned in place for pedestrian traffic anywhere, as far as particularly on that red part on the railroad right away?
So the blue indicates sidewalks,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
pedestrian access.
All right.
So you can see this one's a little bit funky with pedestrian access here.
Yeah. Okay. That answers my question. I just want to make sure we had that. And how about bicycles? Any idea on that?
Well, technically with the 8-foot shoulders,
Okay.
if we didn't do a design exception to remove that, a bicyclist could ride their bike within that. However, I would encourage bicyclists to utilize other facilities, other bike lanes within the city rather than riding on
Do we
Highway
have,
20.
so there's no thoroughfare, there isn't anywhere right now, but on Highway 20 all the way east to
Right.
west, there's nothing?
There's
there?
nothing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And that begs to ask the question about the 10-foot with the extra requirement for an actual bike shared sidewalk. The concept we've done on Bridge Street. But we'd have to get more,
Class 1.
yeah, class 1. So, but then we would have to acquire more land to make that happen unless we moved it north and acquired the property there. There would be plenty of room to do that on both sides.
For that short distance, your constraint would be up here,
Okay.
west of Civic Center with the bank and the gas station.
Okay,
And then as you move further east, you'd be constrained there as well.
okay, I just wanted to at least bring that out because we're trying to do class 1s as much as possible to, in the future as we expand roads out.
And
if we
that's why
can.
I would encourage bicyclists to use Bridge Street, B Street, Gray Avenue, Butte House Road,
Yeah,
where we
okay.
have bike facilities.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
It's just a point of clarification, and I apologize if I missed this. When the reference is made to the split level, is it the desire of the council simply to look at the 3 feet sinking, or look at it further than that with the assumption that infrastructure would be moved and that we would enter into an arrangement where we assume certain costs that come related to that? I just want to receive that clarification.
I'm waiting.
Well, it'd be my desire to take a look at all those options to see what the cost of that would be on a go-forward basis. Fully knowing that there's going to be more expense potentially in the ADA access for the Highway 20 corridor for the east-west travel. But with all of that said, I believe that the offset is the aesthetic value of a lower profile intersection, especially adjacent to some of our larger commercial property with the incoming Panera Bread, the mall as it goes through some changes and things like that. I look at how many different options we can look at. I don't want to exhaust a whole bunch, but if the cost is $1 million to move everything, that may put it out of the realm, or it may be less than that. I don't know. That's a large piece of infrastructure, but I think we should at least look and see what the potential is.
I just want to make sure that we don't run down a path that you didn't intend. The other question, if I may, would be of Diana. Diana, will we be able to include what Councilman Buckland just referenced as somewhat of an alternative for each of the scenarios? Meaning, here's as if you do it normally, and here's if you do it with the split level scenario, so the council has the discretion to understanding of the difference in cost.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, that the report would have more of a general discussion related. So you'd have the 3 interchanges as they are shown here, and then have another section that's a general discussion. If you were to depress Highway 20, what would be the additional costs and impacts associated with that? So then you would just take the cost estimates, and maybe by alternative put what the revised cost estimate would be.
Thank you.
And the other item, if it is the split level, and we do get to 7 foot or so, it has less of an impact extended out on the south part of the highway too, and the ramps and things like that. So there is going to be a counter construction cost to that also. So so this is, in profile impacts, and access. So that'd be nice to see what the changes are on the south side.
All right, thank you.
With that, thank you very much. And moving on, financing water system energy facilities, presented by Robin. Now this is the item where we can now do, because we are currently the finance authority also.
That's correct. This item and the next item will be addressed to both the Public Financing Board and the City Council. So it's a joint item addressed to both entities. The city contracted with Optera Energy Services in October 2016 to develop a battery storage facility at the city's water treatment plant, capable of providing power to the plant during periods of peak time of use pricing. Also in October, the city submitted an application for a CREBS Clean Renewable Energy Bonds allocation from the IRS. That was approved. We were successful in receiving that in a total amount for the water operation of $2,124,216. This bond is a low-cost credit bond that will allow us to finance the cost of this project over 15 years. This slide on the screen shows you the projected total savings. At the top is the estimated total savings along with the cost of the program, which generates net savings anticipated of just under $591,000 over the life of the project. The financing mechanism is a bit different than what we've used previously in the city as in the way of bond transactions. In this case, these bonds are issued as taxable bonds, and as such, the rate that the city pays is higher than what we would receive in the marketplace for a non-taxable transaction. For the water crabs, the low bid came in from a bank at 4.29%, which is better than the rate that was estimated in the staff report at 5%. The savings is generated because the city receives a rebate from the Internal Revenue Service for a portion of the interest paid to the bondholders. This causes the net interest rate, including costs to the city, to drop to about 1.71% on the water crabs transaction. That's an incredibly low rate. We're not able to achieve that rate on other financings that we've brought to you. It's with the IRS subsidy that we're able to achieve that. Due to the smaller dollar size and unique characteristics of the bond being issued, city staff and our financial advisors recommend that this debt obligation be financed through a private placement. And I'd like to acknowledge tonight here our financial advisor, Mark Northcross with NHA Advisors. And we've got our bond counsel and disclosure counsel representative here, Chick Adams with Jones Hall. We've worked with them for many years, and they always give us excellent advice, such as helping us and assisting us with our agenda issue earlier this evening. With that, I'll answer any questions that you have, and if you don't have any questions, then I ask the Board of the Public Financing Authority and the City Council to authorize the issuance of the CREBs and approve documents and actions related to the financing as outlined in the staff report.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, this is great. My only question is, we're getting really good rates, and every time we're refinancing and getting new bonds and different things, does that perhaps have something to do with our rating and how good it is in our history? Is that something that's being mentioned also in the conversations?
We definitely have a good relationship with the rating agencies, and we do receive very positive ratings for a city our size with our demographics. With the next staff report that I'll be presenting to you, we did go to the rating agency and ask for a rating. So we received a rating back from them that it's the same as what we have on our overall wastewater fund, a AA-. This time they did assign a negative outlook to us because of our demographics of our higher unemployment and our lower per capita income, some of those things that are beyond our control, plus wanting to take a look at our long-term rate structure. They were really pleased to see that we had a 5-year rate plan in place, that we are covering our debt coverage ratios and all of that. So they feel like financially we're very stable and that we manage our operation quite well. That was in the report that I sent out. Overall, we do very, very well with them. We're very responsive, and I think that helps. We put together an excellent presentation for them. I was very proud of that. I think we present ourselves in the best possible manner, working with what we have available to us.
I know that you do a lot of fretting over an effort to make sure that that remains that way, and we thank you for doing your job accordingly.
Thank you. It's a great team effort. I couldn't do it alone. I have staff support from my staff as well as other departments. Diana Langley and Mike Palucci contribute greatly. On the operational side, they ask questions that I couldn't begin to answer, and we put together written responses and provide them back to them in advance of our calls. The rating agencies really appreciate the time we put in on the front end. We had another rating call today that was a rating update with Fitch Rating Agency on the water. We don't know how that rating, they'll go to committee in the next week or two, and then they'll let us know what they decide. But we sent them everything in advance, and the rating call itself lasted only 14 minutes. I think that's unheard of.
Wow. Yeah, that is unheard of. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
With that, we'll go to some action.
Through the mayor.
Yes.
I make staff's recommendations for actions A, B, C, and D.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, unanimous. We're holding up our end of the bargain with the citizens on this, so it's very pleasing. Moving on to 12, which is also Robin.
Yes, very similar with the wastewater fund. We entered into a contract with Optera Energy Services to design, engineer, and install a solar facility at the wastewater treatment plant. The city also submitted a successful application for a CREB allocation. As it relates to the wastewater plant, the amount was $6,821,740 to provide financing for this project. This slide shows the total projected savings from the project at approximately $29.6 million, with a projected cost at about $11.6 million. This generates a net savings of over $18 million during the 30-year life of the project. This project is larger in size than the water project, so for this project, city staff and our financial advisors recommend that this debt obligation be financed through a public offering. The estimated taxable rate on this is 4.5%. With the IRS subsidy, the net interest is estimated to be about 1.8%, including costs. It is noted that this interest rate is slightly higher than the water CREBs, which is because the water deal has a 15-year repayment to it versus the 25-year repayment on the wastewater. Those bonds have a longer term, and the longer term debt requires a higher rate of return in the market. With that, I will answer any questions that council has, and if there aren't any questions, I ask the board and the city council to authorize the issuance of the CREBs and approve the documents and actions related to the financing as outlined in the staff report.
Any questions or comments? If not, looking for action.
Move staff's recommendation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous again. Awesome.
Thank
you
you.
very much. Now we will move on to business from the city council. We will start with Councilmember Buckland.
I won't bore you too long. Attended the Sabufka meeting about a week and a half ago. Just routine business, making sure that all of the bills are being paid. Sabufka sits in good shape to be able to wrap up construction in the upcoming season. Still looking at other projects throughout the system, but there was some emergency work done to the south that was instrumental in Mike Inamene being able to move some funding forward. First, a loan from Sabufka, secondarily, the state backing some of that money up. And then he was also back speaking in Washington and actually testifying in front of Congress in regard to our ongoing projects here. So with that, I think we're in good shape, as it's been noted through the high water events that we've had. Our levee systems are holding well. We have a couple places to do some repairs that were previously constructed, or the slurry wall was constructed actually by the Army Corps of Engineers that probably don't meet today's 200-year flood plan, and some of that's in the center of Yuba City, but yet those walls they hold, but there may be some additional work that needs to be done. So we're working with Army Corps to see if we can't obtain the funding to correct that and get it to today's standards. Also been involved last week with our Every 15 Minutes program. We were able to present out at Lyndhurst High School to the entire student body of 1,200 students over a 2-day period of time. It was well received, and we have 4 more projects to go. I won't name the schools that they're going to, but those will all be wrapping up by the end of April. So look forward to the next 4 programs.
Okay, next would be, let's see here. Cardoza,
Yes.
council member.
Yes. Well, we all attended the session on the Orville Dam spillway and incident evacuation. So we were all there. I'll just go past on that. I also attended the visioning session at the Sutter County Museum. We talked about fun things for the museum in the future. Also was at the Yuba City Transit Authority meeting. Normal business as usual. I had the honor of going and participating in the cornerstone ceremony and dedication for the new Sutter County Superior Courthouse. It's been going on for 300 years, so I was lucky enough to get to be the first time out of 300 years, get to go to that. This weekend was a fun time. The Serapis Club They had their merriment and martini social. It was a night of good food and comedy. Saturday afternoon, I attended the St. Baldrick's Foundation Rock the Bald. It's a cure for children's cancers, and it was put on by the Yuba City Fire Department, Yuba City and Sutter County Firefighters Association. That was at the Happy Viking. I got lucky. Didn't have to get a haircut. For chamber events, I attended the ribbon cutting for the new Yuba College District Office. And then last night, I attended the Ambassador Spring Social, which as of last night, I am now a new ambassador for the chamber representing the city of Yuba City. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Harris.
Attended Yuba College, the Yuba City office grand opening over on Plumas Street. It was very nice to see their new facility. It's really a privilege to have them in our city. It's also, think about, I talked to some folks about traffic. Specifically, it happened to be through Marysville was the question. And one of the things that some folks don't think about that helps traffic is the fact that Yuba College is building campuses over here. I know when I was going to Yuba College years ago, trying to get through Marysville was a big hassle. And so that's just one more thing, bigger picture-wise, that people might not consider that is helping trying to get through that city. I did have an opportunity to tour the water treatment facility, the wastewater, I was corrected on that, the wastewater treatment facility, which is much more entailed than the other one, apparently. I did manage to keep my breakfast down. It was challenging and at one point when you enter a certain building that I didn't know about, but he did. Well, after I cleared my eyes out, I did learn a lot, and I tell you, I would encourage anybody who has not done so to do so, because it is really impressive. I didn't really, one thing came to mind is I didn't realize what an effect SunSuite has on our facilities over there. A lot. I learned a lot, and I thank you, Diana, and your staff for making that happen. And Manny, I owe you one. No, I owe you one. Let's see. Stopped by a planning commission meeting. It was very interesting to see that, see the new folks. I think I was there the night that Sutter County Representative Jackie Silman was sworn in. Went to the museum visiting session over here across the street, the flood feedback forum. I also attended the cornerstone ceremony over here at the new courthouse. Very impressive with that. And community events, the lip syncing contest at Calusa Casino was interesting to see. Michelle Blake did a great job as Michael Jackson. She won that. It was very good to see. Merriment to Martinis for the Optimist was good, funny time. And then also made a point to go over to the Yuba Sutter Transit Board meeting over there at the Yuba County Government Center. So, been around a while, staying busy. So,
Okay.
that's it.
Moving on to Vice Mayor Didball.
Okay, well, we'll just take it off with the transit meeting that was last week. It was just a routine meeting, went over expenses and budget reports, and working on some of the glitches that are happening with the Connect card that they're working on the pilot program before it gets launched across. So working on a few of those, but other than that, it was just basically a routine meeting. We also had the waste management meeting, and we are moving forward with putting together scope of services for our waste services for Yuba City, as well as the other jurisdictions. Last week on Tuesday, we had the community forum regarding obtaining the feedback from the public regarding the evacuation and the experiences, the good and the bad. It was really nice to see a good turnout with the public and the amount of questions that came forth. We are working on getting the answers back to the public, and so we have a full team that's going to be working on those and getting back to the public, which is very critical so that they have the answers and we can continue working on our emergency preparedness plans for the future. Also attended the courthouse dedication, a beautiful ceremony, again, first time, and it was really nice, beautiful weather as well. Got lucky with no rain that particular day. I just want to introduce that the Summer at City Hall program is now officially in the works of collecting applications from our students. The session will begin June 5th. It's a 3-week program, and it's to help students become engaged, civically engaged. And we mentioned the wastewater treatment plan, and they do get to visit that. And so it's interesting. I think in the last session last summer, we actually had a student that became very interested and didn't even know such a career existed. So it is a learning experience for sure. But other than that, I did actually honestly take some time off and spend some time with my daughter as we are preparing for her college. So we are a couple of weeks from making that ultimate decision. So I did take a week off and travel with her to do that. So other than that, I didn't have much other things going on. So.
Okay, great. Well, as many of us serve on many of the different committees and boards together, Sabufka, yeah, was relatively routine, except for the fact that Mike and Amina had been freshly back from testifying before Congress, and then extra little meetings that occurred because of it, and some very encouraging words were given to our community and to him. So we're going to continue on that, pressing forward. We did attend the Sutter County Museum, which is our community museum, scoping event, at least on Tuesday night. Unable to go to the deeper process on Wednesday. The dam event, as everybody says, and for fun, information collection and solutions and ideas. It will be information will be sent out as a whole from everybody at the same time. One big grouping, not dribbling it out from one community or another. It's going to come out as a collective group. Yuba College ribbon cutting, it's great to see that they've separated their administrative and a lot of their facilities out of the location they're at. So now they can return all of that back to education process, and some of the dorms that they used to be able to have there where people could come in and actually stay and go through the law enforcement process and stuff. So it's getting back in a way that they can do that much better. And other ideas that were discussed about future campuses, expansions, a little bit light on that, but they're hoping to move forward. I'm on the League of California Cities Environmental Committee. We had some subcommittees regarding Delta conveyance and how some of the policies are out of whack because of all the legislation that has come forth in the last 5 years. So we're going to be working on policy for the cities to discuss the Delta. Let's see, today I attended the Cap to Cap Water Resources Team meeting, and of course I had to say something about Oroville and stuff because they have what's called an ARC program, which means they're going to apply some of their water resources reliability now to Sacramento River, when normally it was all based upon the American River. Well, if we don't have our FERC relicensing on Oroville and on Bullard's Bar, that gives an instability and a vulnerability to their new approach and plan. And then also on Sites Reservoir, that would give more stability to their plan that they would have, and also to Northern California, Sacramento Valley. And they definitely are going to be doing a lot of reaching out in that area too, since Garamendi is one of our patrons of support for Cap to Cap. It's a good idea to discuss with him some of his greatest concerns and work on them. So they agreed. And it's going to be a little bit out of their normal because it's Greater Sacramento, but it's their water reliability that they want to do. So they're going to be definitely getting behind us and supporting us on our water reliability and licensing, and while in DC and afterward. So that was great news for us. So we're going to be working hard on that. Other than that, life continues on, and thank you for the great meeting. And if there's nothing else from staff or council members, meeting adjourned.